Hello everybody. So welcome to the lesson on using Final Cut Pro. This is Final Cut Pro. The icon for it is a rainbow colored icon that is the movie clacker that we would use as we shoot films. The program itself is pretty easy to understand, but you really just have to get working with it to learn the different pieces. So first and foremost, on our left side here, we have our different kind of project files. Usually we're just selected on the date one, and it has all the video clips that we've loaded up there. For now, what we have is we have a screenplay that was made by OpenAI. I edited it and gave it to one of my senior students to shoot it with a couple other actors. And so this has already been done for you. So in the future, your next project will be one that you will do the screenplay and the shot list for, and the shooting for. But for this one, we are just going to take the clips that have already been made, and we're going to learn how to edit those into a project. So first, you can see there's no project loaded. Sometimes there's a project from another group that's here, so we're just going to leave it alone, and we're going to make a new project. We can either click this button, or we can go File, New, Project. Okay, I want you to put a title for your project. This one is Timberline Heist. And it's always nice to include group member names so that I know who's been working on it. All the regular settings are perfectly fine. We will say OK. And it loads us up a blank timeline. So this is called the timeline here. It actually has timestamps at the top here as we go through it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some clips and we're going to load them in. Now our shot list is organized in a way that it actually lines up here. Shot 1 is clip 1, shot 2 is clip 2. So it's actually really easy to put these together. When you do this, it might not be as easy. It depends how good at organizing you are. So I'm just going to load up a few clips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to load up a later one here. So I'm going to load, not that one, I'm going to load this one here. Okay, so a couple pieces as we get to go. We have a cursor here that our mouse follows. And as we move our mouse around, we can kind of see what the clips are doing. Okay. We also have the cursor for our play. So if we take our mouse off the timeline and we press the space bar, it'll start playing the video. So I press the spacebar again to pause it. Now, notice here, we still have a little bit of clip left as they've already entered the office area and we don't see them anymore. That's kind of wasted footage. We don't want that. So notice as I go close to the end of a clip, I have this little symbol that appears. Well, if you click and you drag it, you'll actually shorten the clip. And I'm going to drag it just so that he's just leaving the doorway there before it changes up to the next one. And there's the next scene. Okay, and maybe the next scene I want to shorten so that we see just the start of the hoodie coming in. So we'll start it there. So now what we've done is we've made this so it has a nice little, it has some good editing between the two clips. So let's press space and watch this transition. So that was a good transition. I think it timed nicely. Now what we could do is we could add some effects in here. So if you notice I have this bottom panel on the lower right here selected. If I select the blue, it'll go away. But our first one here is effects and the second one is transitions. So I'm going to click transitions, and inside this menu there is a whole bunch of transitions that you can select from. Okay, on the left is categories. We can do lights. Ooh, let's do a bloom transition. So you can actually preview it if you hover your mouse over it. It shows you what it looks like. So let's do this one. We're going to grab it, drag it between the two clips we want to put a transition between, which is right here. And it's going to make that transition happen. So let's reverse and see what it looks like. Okay, it looks a little funky on the screen. Sometimes it happens just because it's a lot of work for the computer to manage that. But when we produce it, it will be the proper flash, and it'll look like somebody, there's a flash going on the camera that makes it transition. Okay, another one that we might want to do is, I don't know, let's do is dissolve. Let's cross dissolve. So we're going to do the next one where it cross dissolves between the two clips. and then it'll give you a box, and it just says, do you want to create this transition? What it will do is it will shorten each clip so that it can put the cross dissolve in the middle. So we're going to do that. So let's zoom forwards, and let's see what this transition looks like. Yeah, so it's one blending into the other. So these are some artistic choices that you have to do if you want to do these. If you don't like the transition, so I have the first one selected, I can just press delete on my keyboard, and it will go away. Same with the second one here. Okay. Now the other option that we might have is, instead of transitions, we might want to put some effects on these. So maybe we want to make this look really grungy, like it's combat. So inside our effects here, we have a whole variety. Okay, we can make it look aged, black and white, right? We can brighten it, cartoon. Ooh, let's try cartoon. So we're going to drag cartoon onto a clip. So we just drag it again directly onto the clip, and it should hopefully have an effect that we can see. So let's see. Oops, that's the wrong one. Does that look cartoony? I don't know if that looks cartoony. We can, on our properties panel to the upper right, we have a whole bunch of different properties. The first one is usually where the effects happen. So we can actually take that cartoon effect off and throw on something else. Let's put on, let's try cold steel. Ooh, that looks neat. So these are great for making your clips have different looks. So like we saw in The Hate U Give, maybe different parts of your film have different looks. So this could be a flashback that we're looking at. And it has that effect for that whole clip. And if you wanted to keep that going, we would just drag the cold steel effect onto all the other clips around. Right? There are even ones that blur it, which is pretty neat. So let's try Gaussian blur. Let's put that on there and see what it looks like on this. Okay, it looks like our camera's out of focus. So maybe I don't like that one. I'm going to go and I'm going to remove that and return the clip to normal. The other effects that we might see transform, which is how we can zoom in, zoom out, or we can move the film left or right. We can crop, so we can remove part of the film to the left or to the right. We can even do stuff like distort. Okay, so you're welcome to all of these. So there's some neat ones for stabilization. If you're doing a handheld camera, you might need to stabilize it. Rolling shutter is another effect you could put on there. But say, okay, I fiddle with these and I don't want them. Well, we can actually just uncheck all these boxes and they'll go back to normal. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay, now maybe I wanted to do a transform effect, but I don't want what I really did here. I don't know how to go back. Well, the cool thing with Final Cut Pro is you can just select the clip and delete it, and go find the original clip again, and bring that back in. And there it is, just like it was before. Okay, one effect that we need to know how to use is something called keying. Okay, so we're going to go to a clip that has green screen right here. And so this green we want to get rid of. And that's why we put green in the box, so that you can select whatever object you want to appear in the box at the end of the film. You can choose it. So I'm going to grab the keyer effect. I'm going to actually drag it up top, and I'm going to point to the color I want to select. I want to select the green. And of course, it didn't actually select the color. So I'm going to choose the sample color. I'm going to choose green, and it's going to select the green to disappear. Okay. You'll notice there's a little bit of extra here, and if you want, you can adjust edge distance and some of the other settings here to that, even spill level. It might tweak it, it might not. But right now, everything in this clip that was green is now black. But guess what? We can select what we want to put in that box. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our Google Chrome. I've looked up rubber ducky. We're going to select this rubber ducky. Okay, that's a good image. We're going to save the image. And then it doesn't matter what you name it. We're going to save it to downloads folder. Okay, and in Chrome we can show it in Finder. And here's the rubber ducky image. As you can tell, it's not the first rubber ducky. It's one of many. So we can bring that in, and we can drag it either to our timeline or to our clips folder. It all works. I'm going to put it underneath the footage. Right? and it looks like that. So, okay, that's not what I want my rubber ducky to look like. So I'm going to have to do some transforming to the way it looks. So I want to scale it down. Okay, and I think I might want to move it left or right a little. So that's the X there. Now, if you notice, there's a white background that makes it look silly. So we want to add a keyer to our rubber ducky. So we're going to put that on the rubber ducky. Okay, it didn't do much. So I'm going to choose a sample color. I'm going to choose the white behind it, and aha, it deletes. So now when we go to the section here, our rubber ducky, sorry, I expanded my rubber ducky for a reason. I'll let you know in a second here. Our rubber ducky appears for all of these little transitions, and that'll be my special effect I added in there. Okay, if we wanted to, you could play with these settings to get the green screen filter on the rubber ducky to be a little bit better. We could try to like fill holes a bit better. That's neat. We could play with the edge distance. We could play with the spill level. So all sorts of settings you can adjust. Some do more than others. But for the most part, I think that's really good the way it is. Okay, maybe I want a brown filter behind it so it looks like it's wood grain. So what I might do is I'm going to go up to the upper left. Here we have the first bit is all of our video resources. On the next one we have music and sound effects, which there's usually not much in here. I'll show you in a moment how we get sound effects off the internet. And the next one is titles and generators. So titles are text, like opening text and credits. Okay, we'll deal with that one next. But generators is how we get colors. Okay, so we can cruise through to see if there's any textures that we want. If there was a wood grain, this would be a perfect time for me to grab that. Hey, wood. Let's grab that. I'm going to drag this down, and I'm going to put it below the timeline, so it's the last one. So this is like you're stacking a sandwich. This is the bottom layer that will shine through when the others are not there. Okay, I'm going to get everything in line. So here we go. I don't know if that looks good. Hopefully you all will spend more time to get these things looking good or not. Okay, I'm going to make this a little less shiny-outy. Yeah, if I had more time, I'd probably look on the internet and I would probably change this wood effect to match the background a bit better. But for the time being, I'm going to leave it. Okay, now this one clip here, the opening of the box, I did it like 5 times because I wanted you to have different types of opens if you want to use a different one than others. So I'm just going to cut the clip here. I'm going to go to my button here and use the blade tool. And I'm going to cut this. And I'm going to go to the other side so it's opened. And that's where I want to cut it on the other end. Now I can go back to my select tool and I can delete before and after. And I think I accidentally deleted my ducky. Oh no. That's okay, my ducky is not lost. My ducky is just waiting for me in the clip folder. So I'm gonna move this to the end of the clip and I'll go grab the ducky. So the ducky is over in that first tab at the bottom. There's my ducky. Ooh, I got 2. Let's put this ducky inside. Boop. And we're gonna make everything match up so it's at the same length. Now, what did I do wrong? Well, I got to transform my rubber ducky. So I'm going to select my rubber ducky and I'm going to scale it down. I'm going to move it over. And we're going to use the keyer to remove the white. And so we're going to watch this final piece here. They break into the office. Okay, sometimes this happens. I clicked the wrong thing at the wrong time and my project disappeared. Oh no, it's gone forever, Mr. Lewis. No, it's not gone forever. It's actually up here. See, we labeled it. It doesn't actually get deleted. So what we're going to do is we're going to select it here and take a look at our rubber ducky scene. And then, of course, you can see that my wood grain went long, and so I'd have to trim that if I'm doing any more. Okay, so there's some basic editing skills. One last thing I want to cover is text. So your video project needs to include a title. So over here in the title slide, 3D title is a perfect one. We're going to take it and we're going to plop it in front. Okay, basic 3D title. We don't want to say basic 3D. So we make sure it's selected. So I'm going to put the cursor over here so we see it. And then in our properties box, we see T. Well, that is our text properties. Beside it is the text that we want. So this will be Timberline Heist. Okay, if we want, we can change the font. Let's choose Duality. Okay, we can choose our font size. We can go alignment. We can do all sorts of things with this. Let's take a look at, I want to rotate it. Let's rotate in the Z axis. So we select this box and I use the wheel on the mouse to rotate it one way or the other. Okay. And let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to drag the cursor to the start and we'll play this. Now notice that behind the credits is a black screen. And if you remember from before, anytime we have a black screen, we can probably put something behind it, like a rubber ducky. So let's see if we can do that. So now we have an image behind it. Okay. Now we also have to put credits. So we're going to go back. We're going over here, go to credits, grab, I like the first one. We're going to put it behind, and here are scrolling credits. So here's what it looks like if we don't edit it. But naturally, we're going to change this to be Timberline Heist. And we can change all these descriptions and names. Please remember that you're not the only ones that worked on this project. OpenAI created the screenplay. Mr. Lewis edited it. Devin was the was the director. And our two actors were Olivia and Jordan. So I expect that you credit them all when you do your credits. But you can change your font just like we did before. And you can change all the alignment and everything. Okay. If you select it, it shows it here. It's 10 seconds. If you want it to be shorter, you can just shorten that clip down to 5. Okay. Or 5-ish. Okay. Anyways, that's how we do the basic editing in Final Cut Pro. That'll get you a long way there. If you want to do something more advanced, like change the color tone, you can choose some, or you can look at some of these other options in the properties panel. So here's our color option. We can actually correct the color. So if we want to, we could change our saturation and we could bring it down so it's black and white, or we could oversaturate so it looks super colored. Right. This is also where we would do it where we would change the tone. So maybe we want a green tone to this world or a red tone to this world. And in another clip, we want, if another clip's in a different setting, maybe we want more of a blue tone or something like that. And so you can move these around. Oh, I'm changing the last clip here. You can move these around in order to make those tone shifts. Okay. If you are ever unhappy, there's usually a back button nearby that can reset you. Okay, now the last piece is audio. There is an audio a button here, and you can do stuff like you can change the equalization, you can make it louder, you can remove noises like hums or buzzes. We don't really touch too much of this. The one thing that you might want to do is change the levels. So in the timeline down here, below every video clip is the audio that's attached to it. And there's a couple settings here. You can pull the ends. And what these do is it does a little fade in, fade out for the audio. So let's listen to this right now. Okay. If you heard that audio, it came in slowly rather than having a pop, like a switch being flicked. We don't want those pops. We're trying to avoid those. If you don't want audio at all, maybe we just bring these all down to 0 and we're going to add in our own sound effects. Okay. And so in this scene where they throw a candy bar as a distraction to the secretary, we want a thud. Right? I think that candy bar would make a thud. So how do we add sound? So we're going to go to Chrome. You have a royalty-free audio folder in here. Okay? And that is 3 different websites. So there's royalty-free music from Bensound. On this one, you have to make sure you select free music only. But you can go and you can search up. We can say cinematic. Maybe we want evolution. Ooh, that's suspenseful. That's called a boosh sound. We want that one, so let's download it. Okay, don't worry about all this. Just press download and it starts downloading. We're gonna show it in Finder. And what this does is we see the file here. It's called Evolution. We're gonna bring it into Final Cut Pro. So, all right, Evolution. We're gonna bring this in and we're gonna put it in the timeline. Okay. And I'm gonna move it out front. Okay. This is how our video starts. That's good, but boy, look at that audio. It's into the red. Do you know red means bad? Red usually means it's way too loud. Now, we want our music not to be distracting. We want it to be complementary. So we're gonna reduce that volume. There's two ways to do it. You can grab the bar down here and bring it all down, or in the sound menu, you can actually physically do the same thing with this little slider. So I think -20 will probably be good for this one. Now maybe you wanted for the introduction there to be a really loud sound and the rest to be quieter. So I'm going to back this up to the introduction. There it is. I'm going to use my blade tool to separate this clip into multiple pieces. Okay. Ooh, look, it chopped into 2 chunks. And I want the first chunk to be loud and I want the second chunk to be quiet. So what does this sound like? Oh, okay. I might have clipped it at a bad area. Hopefully you spend some more time to do this more accurately. But we can also make it so that we don't have that, I call it a sound cliff, where you have a really loud track going to a silent track. Okay. So you can play with that. Our sound clips operate the same way as the video clips. If you want to shorten them, because this one was way too long, we'll just grab the end and we'll shorten it down to, we'll say that length. Okay, sound effects. We want to add in that sound effect of them throwing the object against the wall. So let's bring in a sound effect now. Here's our Chrome. The other music one is Pixabay, where you can look for music like suspense music. And you can download that in the same way. I can bring that in now. It's a different soundtrack. So again, we can drag it in and see maybe we like this better. I'm just going to leave it there. By the way, through all these services, you can preview the clips. So I highly suggest to preview all these. Yeah. So you're going to go through and you're going to figure that out. You can even do extra filters if you want like an upbeat, suspenseful music. Is there such thing? There is. Mountain Path is an upbeat, suspenseful track. Okay, weird. Anyways, that's the other free music, royalty-free music website that we can use. Okay, and Freesound. So Freesound, there's a login on your assignment page. The login is TSN Media and the password is media99. You're welcome to use that. We're looking for a thud. And there we go. We got a whole bunch of sound effects. We have 1,696 sounds that are listed as a thud. Let's listen to the first one. I think that one's a good one. Okay, so we're gonna grab that, press the download button. It's gonna come in, and again, we can drag it directly into our Final Cut Pro. Here's our thud, and we want that over by where our clip is. Oh, sometimes they're really hard to grab. I'm just gonna delete that one and grab it from the selector here. Here's our thud. Okay, so let's bring that right down to where that candy bar hits the wall. Thud. All right, let's listen to it. Wow, that sounded real. And that's what we're going for. That thud was entirely the sound effect because we don't have sound on that video clip. There is no sound. Right? Did a pretty good job there. So think about all the sound effects you can do, from footprints to things thudding against the wall, to them trying to jimmy open the principal's office. Right? So you're going to be able to grab a lot of things to add stuff to our video. Even the creaking of the door as it opens, you can add in. So think about all that and what you can do, and I hope you give it your best shot. Don't be afraid. Final Cut Pro will automatically save everything, and if you screw up, you can always just select something and press delete to get rid of it and start over again. So I hope you guys have fun. Every few minutes, we're going to ring the bell, and you guys are going to switch partners, so everybody gets a shot at doing some editing today. Have fun, enjoy it, and we'll see you in a day or two.